so we don't want to make too long of a video. But the other day I talked about the fire room, not the fire plant that came from my other walk, coming from the church by Skokie. Before I looked up the Jackson Park Blue Station. And today I said that the military can't mix with black community fear, and military can't have fear from people if they want their kids to be invited. After I mentioned Jasmine coming up in a car, because I can't quote her, because people would need 3 cubes of socks in order to disappear, to join the military education. So sometimes people will say, oh, if I join the military, I would like to talk to my sergeant. I would like to have at least 1 license of law, you see? So that's it. So that's why when people say, how is people in America? Because their behavior can only get nasty if they see someone like this pull up. Oh, look at that, and he's shining. How is that going to relate to someone who gets offended at him for following the law and being eligible to have a license of law that is available for people who join the military because they have offense against the law? Because it might have nothing to do with that, only to get in there, but they might have something like a 2-man that allows them to be junior year, where they say that they can beat juniors at a competition, where people don't have to spend their whole life being a police officer trying to get away from the system of junior year fame in high school. That says that they can, sometimes people think that they could beat people at the 2-man real quick and be the star of high school, but how would you do that if people wouldn't know, you see? So that's why sometimes with people with vehicles, they get minor lawsuit because they claim that this vehicle is kind of like a Rolls Royce mixed with a Crown, so people will get offended when they put Cap Greeny Green, because sometimes people's grandma and grandparents, they can tell you how people got to a certain age, how they got married and were allowed to be at a certain place. Because now when I have these zebras on and I put this in my phone in the pocket after I walk past the sewer gate that could be empty, where I put my lotto ticket in the FedEx before I return with my lemonade to the park with the water, because it might be something yellow on here that is not in this individual parking lot or painted on a truck that reminds me of an emotion that is not related to a farm or not related to a big restaurant like a buffet, that reminds me of how I don't like for people to be, especially when you mention funky women who are married and they can't speak about how the difference of how they're supposed to be associated with behavior of protection from property and state to try to harass and attack a young man for free, because they claim that when I'm going to the Clark Beach in Evanston for the first time, 3 parts of 3 legs, the Emerson Street, the Gulf Street, and then one more street, 3 parts of everything, because I wouldn't link it in this area to 3 parts, because it will relate in my mind. So if I walk that long distance, if I walk past Walgreens, I could turn back, because it always reminds me of how when my mom took my money, they say, how am I going to buy something to drink? How am I going to talk to one person if I get scorched by the sun for not having the value of this walk? And a video that I can't contain to gradually build myself to other areas, to not put Clark Avenue on the beach by arranging rocks over there, that I could find stuff to arrange right here, but it's not a beach, because beaches, water always looks for the heat, and that's why beaches are built, because it's a law of creation of how the Lake Michigan is associated with the Red Sea, because they say that the whole Lake Michigan could be arranged on a map in ways that something going to a Clark Beach is a physical experience that's not related to the things in between, but the walk back will be related to a congestion line where I can't connect this parking lot in Lake Michigan to arranging routes, because the area of that beach is newly related to an area where I might talk to a social security agent, I might talk to a phone carrier, I might talk to someone who gives me people $3, I might talk to someone for a pair of shoes, because they say that when I go to this area, it's not linked to the bus, because the bus scams people by identifying their face when they buy a bus ticket and tries to put them in a box in the same place as these Portillos, where the only time people go to these Portillos is if they hit a lick in their church, as if their eyes is not open to a terrain where they'll see a sense, where they'll be like, some people don't want people to try to be fags, because they don't have people in the military, they don't have people in church, they don't have officers related to history of science, so they try to do whatever they want to do to try to copy people's behavior, because they claim that these places were not earned by my videos and my portrayal of my real life sciences and not online, that I can go and arrange information there. That I never been to Chase Park, Evanston Beach, never been to Montrose Harbor, Evanston Beach, never been to South Shore, Evanston Beach. But if I arrange things in the heat of here, how are we gonna know how much my six-pack was when people try to bulge my head so jealous of me, because they claim they gnashed their teeth and they weren't aware they were existing, when they try to say my behavior is because they claim they're not aware of the power they claim by withholding money from Social Security, and then saying that they're not aware of why you can't just do that unless you think you have power over people. When I go for a walk, I have to take that power off of me by arranging rocks here in the history of my life, and not just the history of people associated with your power, to say that people can't even arrange things in these stores because they try to arrange it to have power over people in a calendar in a time of life where they say that I'm back to this garbage. And how would you know that people didn't take my Nintendo Switch out and they didn't take my $20? Because when I used the pliers to try to get the toothbrush, how am I not going to have money if I use the umbrella to return to the Target before the Wolf Rock, before one more return to that area with my pink camera and my pink phone on my Google search this Sunday of the last day of June tomorrow, because they say when the Jackrabbit returned, there was a canary with the Latino. And if I look in here, how would I know that there was money in here unless I look? Because I would say that someone would have to see that if niggas was here, they would say that the trash is still here. So if I take this off and I get my cash out of here, how could I reach for the bottom and say that that why would someone have a source of cash but someone take it out? Because they claim it's nasty to put cash in here, but they claim they're trying to put things in nasty places where I can't get out, because they're claiming that when people come here and I can't get out, they say that the cashier could buy me something to drink. It could buy me an ice cream and a hat to help me finish my walk. Or otherwise, I'm going to walk past these same stores that I can't afford nothing. When I had my first job when I was 15, first apartment when I was 17, 3-year job when I was 13 years old, when I was 2013, trying to build my life, trying to be successful. But when they took my Social Security and said that you can't get it back, how is that related to behavior that they claim is immature about something that they say is related to God?